Welcome everyone to Already Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Tara. We talk about TV shows here. The year is 2021 and the name of the show is Babylon 5. So this is season 2, episode 2. It's called Revelations. And holy crap, lots of big things happening in this one. It is chock full of relevant things. We got Dilenza, we got Jakar, we got Garibaldi waking up. We got all sorts of things. The shady president up to no good. Wide array of big ramification stuff. And maybe this is just season 2 now. Maybe just every episode is going to be full of things now that are all
maybe.
Because season 1, it felt like there was a lot of episode by episode plots that were fairly, just standalone, and then there'd be a couple of teases of things, other than 1 or 2 big episodes that were really propelling stuff. Maybe season 2 is just going to be, every episode is super relevant to everything, and that's just how we're going. So you got Talia back as well in this episode. She wasn't in the last one.
I know, she wasn't there very much, but she was significant. And then we got the machine that the alien healing device / murdering device.
I pop for this because
that came back real quick.
Franklin goes to Sinclair. Sorry. Sheridan.
It's going to take some time.
I know. Franklin goes to Sheridan, who's in the Space Needle restaurant. They're using that again already. See, they love this new set. And he's like, hey, I've tried everything with Garibaldi. And I shit you not, in my head, I was thinking, you did get that alien device last season that lets you,
that cures everything.
Yeah. And so credit to the show. Credit for them immediately, within 10 seconds of me thinking that, he says, like, last year I got access to this device, and I'm like, wait a minute, he's doing it. He's actually suggesting they use this thing. And then not only that, they do use it. Sheridan only disputes that Franklin shouldn't be the one to just sit and do it on his own. So they take it in turns. But it works. Garibaldi wakes up, and that propels his plot, obviously. The character being awake often does do wonders for the plot going forward. But
after being in a coma, yeah.
Yes. But I respect this being used in that, because this is the sort of thing where other TV shows would conveniently forget that they've got access to something like this when someone's on their deathbed. So
episode 3, the guy that's guarding the planet down below is going to save them somehow.
Maybe that's a bit quick, but yeah. But hey, I've always heard this is the show that sets things up and pays them off at some point later. But yeah, this one's a bit quicker than I think we anticipated. But
Franklin did talk about, like, people can just donate a little bit of life force, like people used to donate blood. So maybe now that Sheridan has used it and seen it work and perform a miracle, basically, maybe that'll be something they do. Yeah,
I honestly, I really appreciated this. And we'll just sort of stick with Garibaldi, then, I guess. From here, sure. Arguably some of the lesser interesting stuff outside of just some of the conspiracy of Earth First, and the thing we eventually get to is that maybe the Psi Corps are also involved. At least part of the Psi Corps are largely involved in the assassination of the president, but he's determined to figure out what's going on. He's very confused when he wakes up because it's not Sinclair. He's like, I don't know you. He's like, where's Sinclair? I didn't talk to Sinclair. He's like, I'll come in here now. I'll just, I'm your CEO. Just, but he asked for Talia because he wants Talia to scan his brain because he can't think of who shot him, especially since it was from behind. And probably the most gimmicky thing about the episode is the way in which it's discovered who shot him. But I did appreciate that the villainous officer did try and come and say, in case he needed to finish everyone off. Was he going to just kill everyone in the room from behind if Garibaldi knew it was him? But when he hears that Garibaldi has no idea who shot him, he backs down. But then he gets Talia to come in and scan him, and she watches the events, and luckily there was a reflective surface so that in his mind technically the answer was there. You could see his face.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking, well, he came out of a room into a hallway. So the person who shot him had to have been in the room which he came from. Or at least that guy should have seen who shot him. But that's okay. This works. This works too. Even though it's a little bit silly. Although I wonder if I don't think we would if we check the tapes, if we could see a reflective surface.
I highly doubt it.
Yeah.
I highly doubt it. Maybe fans will tell us in the comments that we're wrong and that reflection's there if you go back and check. But I've got a feel it looked imposed on in this memory, in this flashback in his head. It didn't look like it was naturally there. So
it was a pretty clear reflection.
Yeah. I'm going to go out on a limb and say this is... And this show's so good with so many other things, I'll forgive it. But this was basically the telepathic version of in like a CSI when they're like, enhance. There's a reflection on their eyeball. The killer's in there. That's what it was. So,
yeah. That's all right. It was good to see Talia.
Yeah. And then they go and arrest the guy. Although they have a little ruse to get him out of the room to surprise him.
It seemed really unnecessary.
It did.
It's not like he had any other exits. It was just the one room.
Yeah. To the point where the one other security guy who's not Garibaldi that pops up from time to time, the guy with the horseshoe hairline, he
First Blood guy.
He says to Sheridan, hey, if you want to take a few laps and leave him alone with us, with the suggestion that we'll rough him up.
I like the way that his like buddy lures him out is like, hey, Dilenza awake and she's got wings like a butterfly. Because for a second I was like, wait, really?
We do have to talk. We have to talk about the direction actually, because Garibaldi insists on talking to this guy once he's in like a holding cell, and Franklin tries to stop him, but he insists, and he's got a walking stick. Some of the camera work in this like interrogation, if you want to even call it,
it's really harsh lighting, yeah.
Really harsh lighting, but also they have this like close up, low angle shot of Garibaldi's face looking down. It made it feel like it felt really 90s. It was the most 90s like piece of like filming style that I think this show's had, is the lighting and the camera work in this scene.
Yeah.
So
you're gonna think I'm BSing here, but it reminded me of the interrogation scene from the Philadelphia Experiment 2, which is the opening scene, which is very 90s.
And who was
starring our favorite Garrett Graham, seen here as Lord Kiro from Babylon 5.
Are you fond of the new thumbnail design for season 2? Are you a fan?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
makes sense. He is the third co-host.
I mean, you did pose for it, so you knew it was going to be there. But I mean, it's one thing to see it in your head and then actually see the finished
It's
article.
also just a better picture of me. Season 1's photo wasn't very good. Wasn't the most flattering picture of me.
I mean, admittedly, yes.
No comment. It's okay.
Next to a photo of me, I get why you need some backup from Garrett Graham to compete. I understand.
I mean, he's the real winner. Garrett Graham, if you listen, we love you.
He's like a 75-year-old man. He does not know how to listen to a podcast. He doesn't know how to put on YouTube, okay?
Shh, we don't know.
I
may get an anonymous email one day.
If you tell Garrett Graham that people are talking about him on YouTube, he'll say, "What channel's YouTube on?" So, anyway, the thing is that Garibaldi, when he's leaving the room, and he's basically demanding to know who's behind this, and he kind of implies that it wasn't really just Earth First, right? It wasn't just them. It sort of implies, and it's actually that there's a little gesture he does, which actually, I don't think I noticed this when Chekhov did it in season 1, because this is the thing.
It's been a while since we've seen him.
Yeah. But this is the thing that Garibaldi links between them to suggest that some Psychor ops like the Pro Earth, Bester, that was it. And I noticed it when he did it in this. It's a lot like the white power symbol from that I learned from Watchmen.
I don't know. I can't remember. Wasn't it like an eye on the head or something?
Yeah, it wasn't on the head, but it was like the same sort of thing, which I've actually since learned is actually a genuine thing where people throw up that sign to mean that.
Oh.
You can see like photos of like certain people like sort of sneaking it in to like a photograph and stuff and all sorts.
Okay. That doesn't surprise me. I mean, Watchmen was a pretty terrific show with lots of details, and doesn't surprise me that it was accurate.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm not suggesting that it was taken from Watchmen. I'm suggesting that Watchmen actually taught us about something that was already a thing.
Yeah, that was a great show. I'm going to watch it again.
That was a good show. But no, it stuck out to me, and I don't think that's an accident. If it is kind of a slightly altered version of that, I don't think that's an accident. Given what this group are about, and the whole humans are better than aliens is nonsense that they're going on about. But of course, the scene that kind of feeds into this as well is that Sheridan gets a call from the president, who is very curious, very interested in hearing about this suspected a plot against his predecessor and this culprit that they've caught. And obviously Sheridan's playing nice. He's saying, "Honored to be speaking to you, Mr. President," yada yada yada. But notably, when the president very suspiciously says, "Well, we're going to have him transported on a prison ship, first chance to Earth, along with all the evidence," and the music lets you know as well. But Sheridan, he's not looking at the screen and therefore the camera, but he clearly knows this is fishy. He's not he's not going to accuse the president yet of anything on a whim, but he clearly knows this is not in the up and up. There's something really weird about this. And sure enough, at the end of the episode, we find out that there was a mysterious second ship that transported him along with all the evidence, and now he's just gone. He's just lost. So the president himself orchestrated the escape of this individual. That's kind of a big deal. I mean, we speculated in the finale that this vice president was clearly in the whole thing.
Yeah, I genuinely forgot about his connection with the Psi Corps, though. So that was a detail that was worth repeating, at least for my sake, that I'm glad I got this episode. That Psi Corps was promoting the vice president, or backing the vice president.
You're right, I'd forgotten that too. So I mean, I think that's the thing, is it has a lot of stuff that connects back to earlier things, but it's also good about not not making us feel bad if we didn't remember every single detail that's ever been brought up. It knows that it can't expect us to remember every single thing.
Right, but on a rewatch, it would probably pay off pretty well.
Oh sure, yeah, but they mentioned that, and and he speculates that Psi Corps involved. It's kind of suspicious that the vice president, stayed on Mars when the ship was on its way.
He had conveniently had the flu.
Yeah, so Garibaldi's asking the right questions. And I'm very curious, given that Garibaldi was so close to Sinclair, I am actually kind of fascinated to see how he interacts now with Sheridan, what their relationship becomes.
I wouldn't say hostile, but he was a little bit not very formal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Sheridan's going to let me away with it though, because he just woke up from a coma. So it's
of course.
He's not in his right mind.
Plus, he is the new guy.
Yes. He understands he has to win people over. He seems to be getting on with Ivanova. Him and Ivanova seem to. In fact, there's a moment
here. Well, they have history.
That's true. They do have a bit of history. There's a moment with them that I liked though. Actually, do you see when the call from the president comes in? I do kind of like that Ivanova goes into snarky Ivanova mode, and Sheridan, knowing her well enough, just goes Ivanova because she says, "Oh, there's a call for you," and he's like, "Oh, I'm quite busy. Can you tell?" I was like, "Oh yeah, it's the president. I'll just tell him to wait." And she's about to go into this little sarky speech.
Should I tell him to call back later?
And he's like, "Ivanova, enough of your sarky bullshit. I've put him through it."
We love Ivanova sass. We're pro Ivanova sass.
Oh yeah, always.
Podcast.
Yeah, because it ends in that really sort of down moment where they're together and they talk about how it's really cold up here. Of course, the implications of them feeling alone, that everyone's against them, kind of thing. This is right after they get the news that this prisoner's been suspiciously transferred, and
right.
Yeah, so they know something's afoot.
Along with all of the evidence that they've accumulated.
I mean, I ain't no detective, but something's afoot. The game is afoot.
I suspect foul play.
I don't know why. Do you know that scene in RoboCop, especially in the unrated cut, where Ed 209 eviscerates the guy in the boardroom, and then
it's fantastic.
And the dude says, "Someone get a medic," and it's kind of a really funny line because he's just he needs to be cleaned up with a sponge. The medic is not going to do anything, right?
Yeah, you need a mop.
for some reason, I that popped into my head, and a character just walking in, like, and seeing, like, again, a body that needs to be cleaned up with a sponge, and going, I suspect foul play. Oh, okay. So that was the Garibaldi plotline, right? So that already has a lot of big stuff in it for all the implications of the politics that it's been playing with from season 1. And the Garibaldi sort of like dead set in the middle of it and really wants to solve all this. Then, where do we jump to now? I guess G'Kar. G'Kar is back. Obviously, this ties into Londo as well. In fact, Londo often has one of the better lines in the episode, but he made me laugh in the first, like, 15 seconds of this episode.
Of course he did.
Maybe it was the second scene. Maybe we had G'Kar first in the ship, but when we cut to the council meeting, right, and he's complaining that no one else is there, there's a point where he just yells out, he complains G'Kar's not there, he's missing, blah blah, and then he looks at Lanier and says, and Dilenza's in a cocoon. and all he does is state the fact that she's in a cocoon, but the way he just yells it made me laugh because it is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, he's upset because they're supposed to have a council meeting of the ambassadors, and two of them are just missing, or either MIA or in a cocoon. I wouldn't say Dilenza's missing per se. We know where she is. They're not present.
Yes, they're indisposed.
So they can't really get anything done.
They're indisposed. Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, G'Kar.
It is kind of BS that G'Kar, being as important of an ambassador that he is on the station, that he could just leave without giving anybody any notice of where.
Yeah, we see him barely survive. Like, 2 other Narn ships sacrifice themselves so G'Kar can, like, get back to Babylon 5, wherever he is exploring. And he's really ominous, and when Natoth comes in to see him, he basically...
Who's been recast?
Who's been recast? I even noticed, I'll be honest, that the makeup hides the face quite a bit that I didn't even notice.
Oh, I noticed right away. She's a totally different face.
I will take your word for it.
She has giant red bug eyes now.
Well, here's the thing. I'm looking at the cast list on IMDb, and the photo of this actress, she is a Klingon. So
yes. I know her.
Yeah, she's in your wheelhouse, shall we say.
Yeah, she's Deep Space Nine Klingon. Is it Grilka? Click on her. I don't know her.
Okay, I'll click on her.
I think it starts with a G.
Your guess is Grilka is what you're saying.
Grilka?
Grilka.
That's wrong.
Grika.
Oh, it was close.
No, there's an L there. Oh, that's Grilka. You're right.
Oh, awesome.
Wait, she's only in 2 episodes. You remember from 2 episodes?
They're really good episodes. They're Quark-centered episodes, and normally those are not always great, but it's actually, like, quite fun. They're quite fun episodes, and the second one that she comes back for is like a really good episode because it's Quark, her, and Worf. It's when Worf comes back to the show. They're memorable episodes. That's why.
Okay,
I recognize her.
Well, to get back to the subject at hand, G'Kar was out looking for this new race, or as he puts it, because in the season 1 finale he says, it has to be something new because it couldn't be any of our. And I did feel a little bit here. This is only an issue because we're watching season 2 right after we finish season 1. I think if we had to wait 6 months or whatever it was between seasons, I'd have appreciated him kind of recapping what he said at the end of season 1. Because we just watched that a couple of weeks ago, I was like, okay, yeah. You didn't have to actually recap it. But I get why they did it for when it aired. It makes sense.
Yeah.
But he actually sort of changes it a little bit here and says that there was 2 options. Either it was a new race or a very old one. And there's actually legends of what this race is in his religious texts. Like, his religion that he follows talks about this war with these beings that were only defeated because everyone had to unite to defeat them. And he believes they're back. And if they are back, then we all have to stick together. And I think my favourite part of that is that when he runs into Londo a little bit later, that he's like, yeah, I hate you, Londo, and the Narn regime will only be at its best when it's at the cost of Centauri blood. But if this race is about, we're going to have to, come together, and I'm going to have to ask you for a favour. And, it says something that in this episode, G'Kar is willing to put his hatred of Londo aside and say, no, this is more serious than our beef.
Yeah, Londo's not willing to do that though, because he's still working with Mr. Morden.
Well, he is. I think that's a bit more complex though than just Londo's. Like,
I don't know. He doesn't seem to be like as upset about it.
He's not.
As
I mean,
he was at the end of season 1.
Yeah, but he's had a bit of time to like sort of get used to what's happened here.
Yeah, but he like flat out says like, "Why not kill all the Narn?" And it seems like maybe it's a little bit unjust, but Mr. Borden's like, in due time.
No, I think that
Baby
isn't.
steps.
No, I think that isn't just. I was going to bring up that exact line. I think that line is him completely in jest, and he's surprised when Morden says, "Oh, in due time." We'll get to that.
Sure, but like he knows Morden is capable of like genocide at this point.
Yeah, I don't know. It didn't come off to me like he actually wants to literally kill all the Narn. Like I know he's talked a big game in the past, but the way he says it is because he's worried. He's like, okay, this won't be traced back to me. He's concerned about being found guilty of being a part of this. He doesn't want to be a part of it. And then he says, well, Morden, what happens if like my council or my government want me to do another demonstration of this power that I seem to now have? And he's like, oh, well, we'll just provide one then. And this is when he sort of goes, oh, we'll just we'll get an outpost here, we'll do a colony there. Why not just kill the whole Narn world while we're at it? It played to me like he was kind of pointing out of how ridiculous it was that he could just snap his fingers and make any of this happen.
Yeah, but he's not saying no to anything also. Like, I like Londo. I want him to be a good guy, and I'm sure we'll get his redemption. But in this episode, he's not doing so hot. Like, he's not doing a lot to win me over here, because he did, wipe out a colony, and now he's working with Morden again. Like, Morden says, like, just let me know anything that's happening in, like, the Outer Rim. And he provides him that information. After he says, like, we can do another test anytime.
Well, okay, yeah, but he's just, like you say, he knows that he can just wipe out entire colonies or planets with the snap of his fingers, basically. Mm-hmm. And he's asking you for a favor because he believes you're in debt to him. Would you not give him what he wants?
I don't know. Like, why not? Like, I mean, he doesn't really know exactly what his powers are. Just that, yeah, he is capable of wiping out.
I think he's scared.
A colony.
I think he's scared. I genuinely do. And I'm not saying he comes out of this squeaky clean. There's obviously a lot of middle ground here where he needs to feel guilty. I think he does feel guilty. But
I think if he's scared, we'll see it later on. I didn't think he really felt scared in this.
I got scared because when Morden says, "Oh, the only favor we ask is that if you hear anything about the Rim, you let us know." As he's walking out, and the music sort of gets kind of sinister, and Londo's looking at him like with doubt in his eyes. Like there is a moment there where it's like I think the weight of what this is, like it's definitely not as in your face as it was in the finale of season 1, but I do think there's still moments here that kind of show that he's kind of in over his head.
Yeah, but I don't think he's totally opposed to what's happened. I don't think he is yet, because if he is, I think he would have said, I don't want any part of this. What you did was awful, and I can't, like, I don't want this coming back on me. I don't want any more Narn to get eliminated like this. It seems like whatever you're doing is not fair or right. But he doesn't do that. He doesn't try to get out of anything.
Well, yeah, but that wouldn't be an arc. Like that would just be skipping to the end where he's already willing to stand up against them.
I mean, if he's scared, then okay. But like, I don't think he showed us that he was scared. I think he hasn't done anything. He's just like, he was upset about it at the end of I don't know if it was Chrysalis or the one before that, and then nothing, and then this happens, and there's no emotion about it. Like, I don't get the scared, I don't get the regret in this episode from him. I'm sure it's going to happen.
I disagree.
It's not here.
No, I disagree with this. I don't think it's as clear cut as you're making it at all. I don't think that he's not sinister. He's not happy about what's happened, right? At no point, all he has in this episode is he's worried that he's going to be connected to it. When he's asked for something, the music gets sinister, and he looks concerned that he has to provide this, and it's very ominous because he doesn't know why or what the purpose is. And then later in the episode, when this happens, when Jakar has that moment where, because they send a ship, the Narn send a ship, try to prove that there's something out there to the home world where these beings once occupied, because Jakar believes that some of these planets are being repopulated, and he wants to prove it. Because Londo's given the intel to Morden, they're waiting for it, and the ship is destroyed. But because it's at that moment where they come right out the jump gate, it's kind of unclear what happened to it, so the Narn don't think it's suspicious necessarily, and they don't want to send another ship right away. And Jakar's pissed about this. And Jakar kind of points out, like, this is crazy. Like, the only way they'd be able to kill them immediately is if they knew they'd be coming, but the only people who knew that, and he stops and he kind of looks around, and Sheridan sort of says, like, what are you implying? He's like, nothing. And he doesn't really want to go there. But there's a moment where he looks at Londo and Londo can't make eye contact. I don't think it's as clear cut as Londo is just on board and he's just happy with all this. I think Londo is now in a position where he's locked into this and he feels like he can't get out. And I'm sure it'll be more overt with that as time goes on. But I don't think it's, oh, he's just happy that he's killing Narn now left and right. I don't think it's that.
I don't know if it's, I don't think he's happy about it. I mean, that was pretty clear after the first one. But I just don't think he's given any effort into, like, stopping any more of it.
Anyway, we're not done with the aliens yet. We get Dilen, her cocoon is pulsing and all sorts. Oh, the cat wants to. I was like, why is she moving the thing? So Dilen comes out of her thing, and Franklin's brought in. There's some build up to what's going on. I did kind of I go back to the earlier joke with Londo saying she's in a cocoon. The scene also ended with him yelling something like, she's becoming a butterfly or something or whatever. Every time someone referenced Dilen, because everyone seems to know she's in a cocoon, it was kind of cracking me up a little bit. But when she does come out, she's all hidden and she's got like a sort of a rocky kind of shell that obviously it starts to peel off eventually once Franklin's there. And she's not technically Minbari completely anymore. She's also not quite technically human either. She's something in between.
Yeah, she's mutated, which I think is the thing we guessed.
So she comes out at the end. Linear announces her presence and says, hey, she would like to join the council. And Sheridan's like, oh, yes, I've been looking forward to meeting our Minbari, diplomat. And out she walks, takes off her hood, and we get... She's beautiful. We get long-haired Dilen. with just the little part of the shell. I
wonder how that works. Like, does the hair grow under it?
I would say no. I would say it just grows over it at the back.
Okay. Because you can see the whole thing, and she has long hair. Mm-hmm. So it goes over here and then stops, and then...
Oh no! I don't think she has. Growth? I don't think she has the same amount of shell she had before. I think the shell now is just like.
Yeah, it's like a strip.
Yeah, it's like a strip going round the back. I don't think all the back at the top is not there anymore. I don't think. Mm. So. I mean, it's a lot of conversation for Dilen's hair, but.
It's a big deal.
Yeah,
plus, she's half human now or something.
Yeah, she makes a little speech. She mentions Sinclair's on. Minbari homeworld now to greater understand her species, and that's why she's also went through her change, which without actually saying it completely basically says, yes, I am now half human, half Minbari, or whatever.
I wonder what that means. Like, if Minbari can cocoon and become something mutated with humans, and humans can take Minbari souls, is there like a common ancestor? Is that what they're implying?
Oh, it could be that. I don't have anything to add. Yeah, it could be that.
I mean, there seems to be some special connection between the two.
Yeah, is it just a bond that's forming in time, or is it a connection from the past? I suppose that's the question. In the same way that this new race aren't actually a new race, they're a very old race, and I kind of like that distinction actually, because it's like, they feel like they're super advanced. And again, there's another little crack here from Jakar actually when he's explaining the possibilities. He's like, oh, none of the species here could do this. Except the Vorlon, but other than who knows what they want.
Except, well, we do know the Vorlon are not like totally immune from death.
That's true.
The Gathering, I mean, he got shot or stabbed or something.
Yeah, no one said he was immune from death, though, right?
He said what?
No one said anything about being immune from death.
Well, I mean, he said imply that the Vorlon don't care about like whatever's going to come next.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But I would imagine if it involves the death of everybody's species, then it's not like they should care, you know?
Yeah, I see what you mean, yeah. Oh, yeah. Maybe they do care then. I mean, Kosh isn't the most expressive of the group.
No, and he only speaks in riddles.
Yes.
To the guy who could take off his brain.
Yes.
Or his hat, his head hat to expose his brain.
Yeah, so that was pretty much the lens thing. Obviously Sheridan again got a nice little plot here to kind of just let us get to know him a little bit. He's got a visitor. His sister comes to visit the station, and we learn about his wife who died a couple of years ago and how he's still kind of getting over that, and that's kind of the emotional crux for him throughout the episode. I do appreciate that it was his sister who came to visit and not a girlfriend. Just again makes him different from Sinclair for a start.
Right.
Him having a wife who died, also, you know, slightly different backstory to a lot of the other characters.
Yeah.
You know.
Another connection to Deep Space Nine.
Oh, really? Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Cisco.
Surely they have to be coincidental at this point, or was this was this JMS like firing back? He took this from Deep Space Nine.
You steal from me, I steal from you.
You took so much from my show. I'm going to take that one little character detail and put it in my show.
Can I spoil a little thing for you? It's in the pilot episode.
Sure.
His wife dies at the Battle of Wolf 359, which is where Picard became Locutus and blew up all the ships. So that connects into, like, there are consequences from that episode.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting. Very interesting.
It is not a Picard-friendly show.
Oh, so he's not a Picard fan. That is a shame. Yeah, I'm actually, that's the other relationship that I'm excited to see is Sheridan with Delenn, given his more hostile relationship with the Minbari versus Sinclair's. But I think that growth is actually kind of exciting to see and shake things up. So I do appreciate, I love that we do have Ivanova who already knows him, so there's someone who is friendly with him and a bit more,
Yeah, not everybody's like, who's the new guy?
Yeah, but and it seems to be all right with Franklin. They seem to have a mutual set of respect in this episode. At least how they deal with Garibaldi feels like they've earned each other's respect a little bit at the very least, and so on. But yeah, with Delenn and Garibaldi, it feels like he's going to have to build those bridges, and maybe that'll be an interesting. Maybe it won't be easy. Maybe it'll be a bumpy road where we'll get some other things as it goes on. But I think that's interesting.
Delenn seems okay with Sinclair being gone, though. I mean, she seems happy that he's at least on the home world, where he'll be incommunicado with the Minbari, because he still has a destiny with them. Some sort of prophecy thing.
Oh, did you? So at the end of the episode, because Sheridan feels guilty, that he blames himself for his wife's death because they were supposed to have this anniversary trip and he cancelled it because he was too obsessed with his work. And then at the end, his sister, because his sister and his wife were friends. They were friends before him and her got married. So it sounds like he started dating one of his sister's friends at some point. But she's like, but she's like, hey, she sent me a message, just before she died, and it just happens to be about how she was also going to cancel the anniversary trip because she also was obsessed with her work, and she was off tomb raiding on some planet. Now I actually just noticed her photo on IMDb. Did you not recognize this wife in the video?
No.
Because she was in Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Oh.
She was Ashara Yar, Tasha Yar's sister.
Oh, she has different hair.
She does have very different hair.
She's not wearing the catsuit with the really exposed camel toe.
No, I was looking down the cast list and I noticed the photo and I was like, I recognize that haircut. That was on Star Trek.
Yep. With the front wedgie.
I believe we call that camel toe, Tara, but yeah.
I already called it that.
The front wedgie. Yes. So there's another bit of Star Trek casting in this episode.
A bit.
Yeah, along with your new Natas.
Grivka.
Yes. Yeah, most of the characters are in this episode. I think Veer and the new guy Kefir are the only ones that don't make at least some impact.
Kefir. I already forgot his name.
Alan saw it because I looked at it. I looked at it there, so that's why I knew it. Which is fine.
I'm sure he's also very close friends with Garibaldi, and they've been close the whole time. We just never knew.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah. I mean, this episode did advance a lot of things. We got advancements with Jakar, with this war that's coming, and we know a war is coming because of the opening, text says that. Well, I say text. The narration says that now. And then we also have advancements with Londo's like sort of being pulled in by Morden into more seedy territory. We got advancements with this device. We get Garibaldi, the assassination, and all the conspiracies behind that. Like almost everything advanced this episode. It was almost weird to get so much in one go. So made for an enjoyable time. I mean, did you like the episode? I suppose I never asked that at the start.
Yeah, we got lots going on. It was good to see Dilenza out of the cocoon, and with the hair that I've seen pictures of. So glad to have the answer. It's cool. She's like half human, half Minbari.
Yeah, and you can stop, waiting for it. Like you were waiting. When's this hair Dilenza coming? You can stop, anticipating it. Yeah, I mean, all this stuff thematically is very interesting, and I think it is kind of very. And I might have said this a little bit in the finale, season 1 finale with Londo and Jakar, but I do think it's kind of fascinating that right now Jakar's coming off as the more, not heroic, but the good character. Like he's actually on the right side of this right now, and because of that scene where he essentially is willing to put aside his hatred of Londo and says, "Hey, we may have to work together to deal with this." Now,
well, he respects, his religion a lot. He's very spiritual. We found out in season 1.
So, and that clearly, if nothing, I mean, Orlando was already in a worse place because he had a hand in things, even if it was inadvertently, without knowing exactly what was going to happen. But he was already in that bad place. But the fact that Jakar's like, hey, this thing's coming and we may have to work together, so deal with it, basically. Which actually had a fun end as well, because that was the end of that scene was him going, oh, we have to go see Dilenza, I'm going to go see her now. And she's like, oh, it may be difficult. It's like, well, is she dead? Oh, well, that's a good question. That's a good question. Is she alive or is she dead? We'll find out. I have a really weird minor nitpick, and this is really, really stupid and small, but there's a shot earlier. It's in the opening titles, actually, but the shot itself is in the episode, in this one. It's of the port, and there's all these like screens up at the top, and one of the screens is like a news channel, and for some reason, the background of this news channel is green, which maybe just an intentional choice and it's no big deal, but it looks like it was meant to be a green screen and
they forgot to put something in. I didn't notice the newscaster,
and I thought, I mean, maybe it's just because we're so trained as movie watchers that a green screen means an effects shot and it just looks undone.
Yeah, I noticed it. I think I kept waiting for the guy's lips to move and to hear what he was saying, because why would you have a news channel on where there's no news? Like nobody's talking, there's no subtitles that people can read. But that's all. That's what I was confused by.
I mean, I assume it's just kind of like it's there in the scene. It's just in the audio mix. It's not important. It's just background stuff, so we don't need to hear it. Yeah,
but you don't see his lips move or anything. So he's just like sitting there.
I was too busy obsessed with the green screen to notice that his lips weren't moving, but that's fair. Actually, I guess that's the other thing, is that the Narn ship that's destroyed, the one that goes to the edge of the rim, to this home planet, they don't have a set for it, so all the Jakar, when we cut inside the ship, it's all just green screened with like the CG backdrop, and the CG in this show is not that great, so. And I get it. It's one ship that's about to be destroyed in like the scene that it's in. So yeah. I get why they didn't want to build a set for it, but
yeah,
just worth mentioning as a little nitpick. But
my only nitpick is that I don't understand why they never address that Sheridan's clearly adopted, because his sister is like so beautiful, clearly a supermodel and not related to him at all. Maybe she's adopted.
You don't think Bruce Boxleitner's attractive?
Oh, he's attractive. He's just not like on her level. She's got like all of her features are so different from. They're both white. That's about it.
That's the extent of the connections you're saying. Okay.
Yeah, they're both white and they're attractive in very different ways.
Maybe they're half siblings. Different dads or something. I don't know.
Sure.
It's a thing. It's possible.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe he's adopted. That's also possible. That's your nitpick. That's what you brought.
Yeah, I mean, they couldn't get anybody who looked a little bit closer to him.
I'll be honest, when it comes to brothers and sisters, I mean, when it comes to two sisters or two brothers, like, I appreciate when they look like they could be related. When it comes to a brother and a sister, I'm like, whatever. Like, I don't know. It doesn't bother me as much for whatever reason. So.
I guess I don't look that much like my sister.
Yeah, exactly. See, that's normal. There's tons of siblings out there that don't look like each other.
Mm.
Very common thing. So, yeah, don't bother me. No, it's a very good episode.
I accept it, but it's a nitpick. Okay.
Sure. It's a very good episode, though. So many things are moving. All the themes that have been sort of enriched in the show are so entrenched at this point, where all the ambassadors representing different things. The idea of peace between two races, which is what kind of Dilenza kind of get into. The idea of kind of swallowing your pride and working with someone that you hate is kind of represented by Jakar. And then you have Londo, unfortunately, being the one who's there showing the worst path taken so far. And, so that's all there. And then the mysterious Kosh is going to Kosh.
He was there.
He was there, yeah.
His little tubes were moving.
Yep. I'm trying to think of something that rhymes with Kosh so I can crack a dumb joke, but I can't think of anything. Bosh, Tosh, Losh. Posh. I guess posh rhymes with Kosh. He's not very posh though. I wouldn't describe him as posh.
Oh, future posh.
Future posh. All right, I guess that'll wrap up episode 2 of season 2 of Babylon 5. Very good stuff. So by all means, let us know what you thought of the episode in the comments below. You can like and subscribe, all that stuff. Get us on the Twitters at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. And if you want to support the show, you can do that by, like and subscribing and all these things. All those YouTube interactions do help a lot and help spread our reviews to more people, and more people can enjoy the things, and that's just good. How else can they support us, Tara?
Yeah, if you enjoy the reviews, please check out our Patreon page. It's patreon.com/MildFuzzTV. And if you donate as low as $1 per month, you'll get access to bonus episodes for other shows we do, including the Ace, our science fiction movie review show. And if you donate $5 per month, you'll get access to some shows early, including Babylon 5, by 1 whole week. Thank you.
Okay, there you go.
Done.
That is us. That has been Babylon 5, Season 2, Episode 2. So thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching Babylon 5. Just don't give away the home world.